Now, let's get to something else here. Don, have you seen any of the stories where they're yapping about the fact that the missile silos are using 8-inch floppy disks or using old floppy disk systems?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, let me point out, guys, you know who wants them to change? The spy systems that want to be able to compromise our nuclear system.
Right. So if they go to something compatible with what they're using, they can break right in.
They can break in. They've already done it with the planes. Think about this. Here's one of the things I pointed out to you over and over again. We have so many different technologies that are sitting here and at other places. One of them, I just mentioned 8-track, right? Have any of you ever seen micro 8-track? Now, when I say micro, and you would think back in the day, well, if 8-track was so big, micro would probably be about the size of a computer mouse, right? Oh, no. Micro 8-track was the size of your thumbnail. What? Yes, micro 8-track was the size of your thumbnail and worked on a low-speed operating system. The equivalent to a micro disc or whatever, or like, again, going from 8-track to cassette. Oh, no, we're talking tinier still and built parallel with 8-track. Now, if I had, say, to send a courier, and I wanted to get something to Dom that just absolutely needed to be secure, how would I do it if I needed to send an electronic data system? And I wanted to make sure there was no possible intercept, so I am not going to send it via any commercial line or even independent line because we don't know who's spying on what, and this is sensitive information in the war effort. What would be the ways that you could do that? Now, you could do what's called whispering. Remember, they were pissing and moaning about Saddam Hussein's people because they knew how to actually use their brains. And they didn't even use recording systems. They used individuals talking messages like we used to do in the Army, where you send this, take this message to Captain Schmidlap, and you would repeat a message. And the job of the courier was not to write it down, guys. The courier's job was to memorize what it is that you said, and the runner went and gave the message to the captain.
And not to embellish it.
Yes, exactly. It was word for word. Repeat it to me now. And the courier would repeat the message, then turn around and leave. And when he got to the other end, he would be the stenographer. He would repeat to the captain the exact order. That's what they were doing in Iraq, and they were all laughing at it, but here's what they were doing. The reason they were trying to laugh and get people to laugh at it is because they were trying to convince them that they needed to change out to something else. Well,
we could watch them with a satellite.
Right, and listen to them with a spy boat. Think about it, okay? Now let's go forward to, let's go sideways over to the missile silos. Or let's go to our solution. If I right now were to take the last format of floppy disk with a hard case, right? How many of your computers, even though that technology is only about, that just went out of style here in the last 6-7 years, though some places still are using those disks even as we speak. But if I gave one to my courier, at least 50 to 60% of the computers that anybody's using out there couldn't run it, could they, guys? Now, immediately everybody say, "Oh, Mark, the government be ready for that. They probably have their system set up so they'd have a player off to the side." Yeah, you would think, but dimwits being what they are, we don't want to change.
Lift the lid on that silo and tell me different.
Yeah, now, here's the thing, the next step. What about if I use large format floppy disk? Small or large format floppy disk, whatever era, how would they run that? In other words, I could take, not only, I would offer a specific amount of time security. You have to find something that can run it to listen to it, to be able to read it. So the system that you're using, if you use a floppy disk and I gave it to a courier and said, this goes right to, Captain Schmidlap, understand? And the person, surreptitiously moves through the population, goes to where he's going to go. But if he is intercepted, if he can't, by the way, he could effectively destroy a big chunk of the data, couldn't he? In fact, he could have a system set up so there's no way you could possibly salvage most everything, especially if it burned. I mean burned. Okay, think about that. And if they do recover it, if they have to spend all the resources to do that, by the time they do, it's pretty obvious my courier didn't get from point A to point B, so his information base is compromised, isn't it? Now, in the time I have while you're trying to figure out what to do about it, I've already moved material, salvaged the net that had, contact with that particular database or information, and we're all doing something else somewhere else now. Sidestep. Oh, you're not supposed to think about, we need the latest and the greatest, and we got to have exactly what they have, so that they'll all be on the same page using the same technology. Now, the other thing about this, let's recall why we built, what kind of environment did we build these nuclear missile silos to survive, guys? Did we spend a lot of money on these silos?
Oh, yeah. Near direct impact.
In fact, the logic was they would have to be freestanding, and everything that they built for it, don't think your homemade systems. Think built like a double brick doghouse with an elevator, going to a warehouse, underground, with a super dog skyscraper, with gold everything. Okay? Gold, everything. Gold doorknobs, gold hinges, gold, not gold-plated, gold. Think everything built for that system was designed and ruggedized to the nth degree. That's what everybody needs to wrap their... So when you hear people doing this, yeah, do you know they're only using floppy disks? Have you noticed that their floppy disks still work?
Mark. Hello, Mark.
Anybody think about that one? You see, that's what's comical about it. And now, well, hold on, guys. Here's the other thing to wrap everybody's brain around. What does it need to do? Did we add on... Here's the thing. They didn't change out their machine because they needed the new Xbox games. They didn't change out the system because they had to have color video. They didn't change out the system because they needed the latest spyware coming in the back door and government demanded it of the next system. Understand that each of those systems is a freestander that's isolated, that was designed to be maintained on site, ruggedized against any number of different threats, mechanically sound and tested with your tax dollars to the nth degree. Okay?